Just a second, students. Okay, so let's start. Let's start with, just a second, student. This is a batch 133. Okay, no problems. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Features of Python will be continued. Features of Python will be continued. Okay, let me go back and write down its batch 133. Okay. Okay, now let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Now, when we discussed about the features, the fourth feature is interpreted programming. Students, what do we understand by interpreted programming? Students, interpreted programming means when we develop any Python program, we must give some file name with an extension that is .py. So whenever we develop any Python program, let me show you. Whenever we are developing any Python program, we are giving it a name of .py. We are using the extension that is .py. Let me show you how the .py works. Let me show you how to give it a name. Let me open this. See, whatever program we are running, we are just giving it a name of like map example1.py. So we are giving the extension name that is .py. Clear? Clear? Now, when we execute Python program, two processes takes place internally. What is the two process? What are those two processes? What are those two processes? The first process is compilation process, and the second process is execution process. So whenever we develop Python program, two types of processes takes place. What is that? Compilation and execution process. Now, what do we understand by compilation process? Students, whenever we talk about Python, the source code submit to this Python compiler. And what does it do? It reads the source code. It reads the source code, check for errors by verifying the syntaxes. So what does it do? Whenever we run any program, whenever we use the compiler, whenever the Python code submitted, what does it do? It reads the source codes and check for the errors by verifying syntaxes. Syntaxes are the formulas. And if no error found, then only the Python compiler converts it into the intermediate code. So how do they understand it? They convert them into the intermediate code called bytecode. Okay, so what does it do? The Python compiler converts it into the intermediate code called bytecode with an extension that is .pyc. File name .pyc. So if error found in source code, then we'll get the error displayed on the console. Okay, so if the error found, then we'll get the error on our screen only. Second, in execution process, see, after compilation process, we have the execution process. So when we talk about the execution process, Aishwarya Khemlapur has I don't know, I'm sorry. Aishwarya has raised the hand. Okay, let me talk to her. What does she wants to say? Okay, Aishwarya, tell me.
Ma'am, you told me the file name is extension of py, but you told file name is pyc. What is meaning of that?
It is internally. That is what I'm telling you. That it internally take it as it in a bytecode. We'll be unable to see that with an extension .pyc. Okay, we will be saving the file with the .py, but it will take it as a bytecode in pyc. Okay.
Yeah,
It
ma'am.
is an intermediate process. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, let's proceed further. Okay. Now, what is an execution process? What is an execution process? So what does the PVM does? PVM reads the Python intermediate code. What does the PVM do? It reads the Python intermediate code. What is that? That is a byte code, right? That is a byte code. Now, and line by line, convert it into the machine language. Machine language. Okay. So, understand, and that is what? That is a binary code, right? That is a binary code. It is read by OS and process and finally gives result. So what does the PVM do? What does the PVM do? It reads the Python intermediate code. Do we understand the meaning of PVM, students? PVM, do we understand the meaning of PVM? PVM is nothing but a parallel, parallel virtual machine. So PVM, what does the PVM do? It's read the Python intermediate code line by line and convert it into the machine understandable code that is executable or binary code. It is read by OS and processor, and finally, what does it do? It gives results. Clear? Now let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Okay, students, let's proceed. See, in Python programming, execution, compilation process, and execution process is taking place line by line. Okay, line by line conversion, and it is one of the interpretation-based programming language. Okay, I have a question in the chat box, I think. What is the difference between bytecode and binary code? Bytecode, see, when we talk about the bytecode and bytecode means bytecode, binary code, we all know it's a 0 and 1, right? We know bytecode is 0 and binary is 0 and 1. But when we talk about the bytecode, it's take 0, 3, 3B, A7, FF, and F7. So it has a different bytecode. So if we'll talk about the 00 in bytes, it is 18. But if we'll talk about the bytecode, it will take it as a load underscore 0. Clear? Clear, student? Now, just a second. Yes, exactly. It is like that. Okay. Now, so in Python program, the execution, compilation process and execution process will take place line by line, and conversion will also take place. See, it is one of the interpretation-based programming language. So definition of PVM, what I've told you, PVM means Python virtual machine. Python virtual machine, or we can say that parallel. What I've told you is PVM in Python is Python virtual machine. Now, PVM is one of the Python software whose role is to read line by line of bytecode and convert it into the machine understandable code. Okay, that is executable or binary code. Clear? So what does it do? Its role is to read it line by line of bytecode and convert it into the machine understandable code. Clear? Now, how does it take place? How the compilation process takes place? I am showing it with the help of diagram. Now, sum.py. Let's take sum.py. This is a source code. This is a programming language. We have saved the program by the name of sum.py. This is the source code. Now, what happened? The Python compiler, what does it do? It compiles, it interpreted the code line by line. The compilation process takes place line by line. Then, what does the intermediate code do? We got the answer, that is sum.pyc. We got it converted into the bytecode, sum.pyc. After that, the PVM executions takes place. So what does it do? It will read bytecode line by line and convert it into the machine understandable format, that is binary code, read by OS and processor, and it gives result. Is this clear, students? Is the Python execution process clear to you? Hemant has raised the hand. Okay. Yes, Hemant, tell me.
So you mean to say this PVM is something like an intermediate or internal compiler, which basically converts this Python code into bytecode? So for example, in Java, we have this JRE, right? So the Java runtime environment. So is it something similar to that?
Yes, it is like that only. So PVM, what does it is a Python, as I've told you, see, it's mentioned here. It is a Python virtual machine. So it's read the code one by one, whatever it has converted into sum.pyc, right? We have saved the program by the name of sum.pyc. Then what happens is Python compiler starts processing. It converts them into the sum.pyc. That is the internal process. Okay. It converts it into the bytecode. Then the PVM will convert it into the machine understandable language. Clear? So sum.bytecode is an intermediate code, and this will be the execution phase. So PVM will help in executing.
So PYC is something like a Python compiler?
No, PYC is an intermediate code. That is the internal process of.
No, the abbreviation what I meant.
Yes.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay. Yogi also has raised the hand. Okay. Just a second. Yes, Yogi, tell me. Please unmute yourself. Yogi, do you want to have any question? Do you want to ask anything? Please unmute.
Sorry, no questions, sir.
You have no questions. Okay, fine. Thank you. Okay, let's proceed further. So hope you have understood the Python execution environment. So this is a source code. This is a source code. Then the Python compiler converts it into the sum.pyc, sum.pyc, that is a bytecode. Then the PVM execution comes. What does it do? It's read the code line by line and convert it into the machine understandable format and gives the result. Now let's go to the next feature, that is high level programming language. Students, high level programming language, otherwise we have two types of programming language. One is low level programming language and the second one is high level programming language. So what do we understand by low level programming language? Students, low level programming language represent the data in lower level, like binary, octal, hexa, decimal, and this type of data is not by default understandable by programmer and end users. Is this right? Isn't it true? Whenever the programming language represents the data in lower level, it will be binary, it will be octal, hexa, and decimal. And this type of binary language or the octal or hexadecimal language is not understandable by programmer or the end users. So when we talk about examples, I have mentioned it here. 0p if we are talking about the binary data, 11111000, and these, are you able to understand this? No, this is not understandable by the programmer or the end user. If we'll talk about the octal data or the hexadecimal, that is also not understandable by the end users. So what does it do? So it converts it into the high level programming language. Now, what do we understandable by high level programming language? See, in this case, what happens if, even if we represent the data in the lower level programming language, it will automatically convert it into the decimal number system. What is a decimal number system? Which is understandable by programmers and the end users. Okay, so what does it do? Even if the program is in lower level data, it will automatically convert it into the high level programming language, that is decimal number system, which is understandable by everyone. So that is why we say that Python is one of the high level programming language, right? Now, seventh feature is robust. Now we are talking about robust. Robust means strong. Robust means strong. Why it is strong? Why the Python is robust language? Because of its exception handling. Because of its exception handling. When we talk about the exception, what does that mean? It means the runtime error of the program are called the exceptions. So all the runtime errors of the program are called the exceptions. So exceptions by default generates technical error messages. Like we have the syntax error, value error, many errors are there. So what does it do? Whenever we run the program, if we have any error in runtime error, then what does it do? It will generate the technical error messages. Clear? And fourth, exception handling is what? The process of converting technical error messages into user-friendly error messages is called the exception handling. So we have understood the difference between the exception and exception handling. User-friendly error messages is what is understandable by everyone. So what does it do? It converts the technical error messages into user-friendly error messages. Like whenever we go to the ATM and we insert the ATM inside it and we use the wrong PIN, we get the user-friendly error messages. Okay, like invalid PIN or wrong PIN entered or anything like that. Whatever we get is the exception handling. So it converts the technical error messages into user-friendly error messages. If it will give the technical error messages, that will be understandable by the programmer only. But if it gives the user-friendly error messages, the end users can easily understand it. See, if the Python program uses exception handling, the Python program is robust. So that is why it is a robust language, because of its exception handling process. Clear? Now let's go ahead. It is an extensible language. Now, what do we understand by extensible? What do we understand by extensible? See, Python programming gives its programming facility to the other languages also. So it gives the facilities to the other languages also, like C++, which means Python code can also be written in other languages like C++. So that is why Python is an extensible programming language. Now, let's talk about Aishwarya has raised the hand. Okay. Yes, Aishwarya, tell
Ma'am,
me.
give me the example for that, ma'am.
You want me to give you the, see, for that I need to have C++ in my laptop, but right now I don't have that.
Okay, fine.
So I'm just telling you that we can run the Python code in the C++ and the other languages also. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Now, hence Python is one of the extensible programming language. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Now, what do we understand by embedded? See, Python programming can call other languages coding segments for fastest execution. So what does it do? It calls the other languages coding segments for its Python code for its fastest execution. So Python code can call C programming code also. Okay. So Python code can also call the C programming code also. This is an example. Now, we discussed about the extensive support for third-party APIs. See, what does that third-party APIs mean? As Python has a vast library, so we can do many tasks and operations and unable to, but still will be unable to perform the complex operations to solve such complex operations, and quickly it uses the third-party APIs. So as I've told you, although the Python libraries, Python has a vast library, but in complex operations, to solve some complex operations, what does it do? What does it do? It uses the third-party APIs like NumPy. Why do it use NumPy? For numerical calculations. And Pandas. Pandas as an analysis tool. Clear? It uses the Matplotlib, that is for data visualization, SciPy and Scikit also. Okay. Now we'll discuss about the identifiers and literals in Python. Now, what is identifier and literals in Python? Students, literals are what? It is nothing but values passing to the Python program. So literals are nothing but the values passing to the Python program. So programmatically, when we write any Python program, we must enter inputs such are called the literals. So whatever inputs we'll do, they are called as literals or values. So all types of values are called the literals. All type of values are called the literals. Students, we have 5 types of literals. We have 5 types of literals which we are going to discuss. One is integer literal. Second one is floating point literal. Third is str, then Boolean, then collection literals. So, just a second, I have a question in the chat box. Difference between Python modules and Python libraries. Students, don't you worry. I'll explain you each and everything. Once we'll go ahead with this process, I'll teach you each and everything. Okay? So don't you worry. Okay. Okay. Now, as I've told you, that whatever values passed from the Python program are called literals. Whatever inputs we are doing, see, so all type of values are literals in Python. So we have 5 different types of literals, that is integer, float, str, Boolean, and collections. Okay. Now, identifiers or variables in Python. Now, what do we understand by identifiers or variables in Python? Students, when we enter input or literal, they are stored in the main memory by allocating sufficient amount memory space. First of all, let me show you with the help of example. Let me show you this. Let me show you how the literal works. Whatever input we will do, how the literal works. Let me show you this. See, like I have A is equal to 10. B is equal to 2.0. I'm entering this. Now, I want to see I want to see what type of literal it is or what type of values it is. So I'll type print A, comma, type of A. So what is this? This is a class int. This is a int type literal. Now, if I'll type integer type, or if I'll type print, just a second, print B, comma, type of B. So it is a float type literal. Is this clear? So we'll get so we have 5 different types of literals in it. 5 different types of literals in it. That is integer, floating, str, boolean, collection, literals. So now let's go ahead with identifiers or variables in Python. Whenever we enter input or literal, they are stored in the main memory. So where does it store? We'll be able to store that in the main memory by allocating sufficient amount memory space with the help of data types. So to process the data which are stored in the main memory as a programmer, we must do some distinct name. We must give some distinct names, and these names make us to identify the values stored in the memory space. So just a second. What does it, what we must give some distinct name, okay? And these names are used as identified, these names used for to identify the values stored in the memory space, and hence names are called the identifiers. So we'll be able to identify this with the help of identifiers. The values of identifiers are changing or if verifying during program. Okay, so whenever we'll execute the program, what happens is the value of identifiers will be changed or verified during the program's executions. So these are also called the variables. So all types of inputs or literals must be stored in the form of variables. And all the variables are called as objects. Clear? Okay. Now, definition of variable. What do we understand by variable? Variable is an identifier whose value can be changed during execution of the program. So, variable is an identifier whose value can be changed during the execution of the program. Okay. Now we have some rules for using identifiers or variables in Python programs. Now, what are those rules? What are those rules? Students, to use variable in Python program, we must follow the following rules. Now, what are those? That variable name is a combination of alphabets, digits, and a special symbol that is underscore only. Okay. So variable name will be the combination of alphabets, digits, and a special symbol that is underscore only. See, the first letter of variable name must be start either from the alphabet or underscore. Example, if I'll write 1 ABC is equal to 23, it will be invalid. Why it will be invalid, students? Because it should be started from the, either from alphabet or underscore. If I write Sal 1, 2, 3, that will be valid. Let me show you with the help of example. Just a second. Let me show you. If I'll write 1 Sal is equal to 23, it is invalid. if I write underscore sal is equal to 23, it is valid. Now, if I write sal underscore 23, sal underscore 23, it will be invalid. It will be invalid. Just a second, students, sal underscore is equal to 23. It is valid. Okay. Now, if we'll talk about same way, if I'll type, let's take another special symbol, percent sal is equal to 23. That will be the invalid. That will be invalid. And if I'll write, let's take 34 is equal to A, that will be invalid. Is this clear, students? Is this clear? So when will it should be valid? When it will be valid? It will be valid only when it will be start from the alphabet or the special symbol, that is underscore only. Clear? Okay, good. It's clear to you. Now let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. No special symbols are allowed within variable name except underscore. And please, students, remember, whenever we use hash, hash is used for commenting in Python. So whenever we use hash, it is used for commenting in Python. It has nothing to do with the program. It has nothing to do with the program. It is only used for commenting. Please keep this in your note. Now, if I type sal is equal to 45, that will be valid. That will be valid. But if I give space, employee sal is equal to 5.6, it will be invalid. Why? Now let me show you one more thing. Let me show you. See, if I write sal is equal to 45, it will be valid. If I write sal hash employee is equal to 45, 45 will be printed, or let me type sal hash employee is equal to 54. 45 will be printed. Why? Because we have already told that salary is equal to 45. When we are talking about the hash, it will be used for commenting only. It will be used for commenting only. It will not take it as 54. It will take it as 45. Clear? Now, if I'll do sal space employee is equal to 45, that will be the invalid syntax. That will be the invalid syntax. Okay, one Heyman student has a raised hand. Okay, Heyman, tell me.
So you mean to say that the spaces are not allowed, spaces or any sort of symbols are not allowed when we are
Yes.
assigning any sort
Only
of
the
variable?
Yes, only if we talk about the hash. Hash is only used for the commenting purpose.
Okay.
Okay.
And in the same slide, so what is the difference between sal hash employee equal to 56 and a hash sal equal to 45? One shows it is valid and the other one shows it is invalid. No, in the slide. Ritu.
You want to see the slide?
Mhm.
This slide?
Yeah. So if you look at the third line, right, sal
Yes.
hash emp equal to 56, which is shown as valid.
It is valid. It will be valid only. Why? But 45 is printed because, as I've told you, hash is used for commenting. This
Right.
will be taken as comment. So whatever hash employee 56 will be taken as comment. Just a second. It will be taken as comment. So salary will only be printed. That is 45.
Okay, but so what is the difference between the third one and the last one? A hash sal.
A hash sal. See, now I am taking it. If I'll write, see, A is equal to 45, then it will be displayed, right? But if I'll type, I have not mentioned anything. A is not defined earlier. Here I'm writing it. A is not defined earlier. So we'll get the name error. Let me show you one more time. Let me show you.
Yeah, but however, we are commenting the sal part here, right? So which means to say it is sort of assigning or declaring
See,
A
let me
equal to
show you. Let me
45.
show you in the program. I have already typed the program. I'm already running the program. See, here also I'm typing hash. That whenever I run the program, this will not take place. This will not consider this. This will only consider till here. Okay, it will be considered till here. Whenever I write hash, it will be taken as comment. This will be taken as commenting purpose. So this will not be considered.
Okay.
Okay.
So whatever after the hash would be considered as a comment is what you meant.
Comment. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Clear?
So in which case so after A, sal equal to 45 will be commented. Basically.
Invalid because hash salary is equal to 45 will be commented, right? It will be the comment, so it will be invalid. But A is not defined earlier in all such like all the points like sal is
Examples.
equal to 45, all the examples. Yes, A is not defined, right?
Got it. Yeah.
If I'll write, let me show you. If I'll write A is equal to, just a second, let me show you. If I'll write A is equal to 35, sorry, right? And I'll write A hash sal is equal to 45.
It'll
We'll
display
get the 35. Then we are getting the answer, right?
Mhm.
Because we have defined it now.
Yeah, got it.
Clear?
Yeah.
Got it? Okay, fine. Okay, let's go to the slide only. Okay. Now, A is not defined. That is why we have got the error. Clear? Okay. Okay. Just a second. Okay. Okay, students. Now, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. No keywords to be used as variable name. Now, no keywords to be used as variable name. Keywords, what are keywords? Keywords are reserved words in programming languages, and they give specific meaning to the compilers, right? No keywords like if, else, for, there are a lot many keywords are there. So if we talk about the keywords, we cannot use them as a variable name. Okay. So if I write here also in examples, if I write else is equal to 45, that will be invalid because else is a keyword. If I write else 1 is equal to 56, it will be valid. If I write if is equal to 45, that will be invalid. And if I write underscore if is equal to 56, that will be valid. Clear? Now let me show you. Let me show you one more time with the help of example. Let me show you with the help of example. Like if I write else is equal to 45, that will be invalid. Okay, because else is a keyword. In spite of this, if I write underscore else is equal to 45, that will be valid. That will be valid. If I write if is equal to 45, that will be invalid. In spite of that, if I write underscore if is equal to 45, that will be valid. So if and else are the keywords which we cannot use. So you have come to know that why it is invalid and valid, right? In spite of that, if I write int is equal to 45. Now int is a keyword that will be valid. Int is not, it is sorry, it is an integer value. This is a class, so it will be considered. It is a class. I have mentioned it here also. See, this is a class int. Whenever we talk about the decimal number 10, so this is a class int, so it was valid. Clear? Now let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. All the class names are not the keywords. All variable names are case sensitive. Students, we need to remember that all the variables names are case sensitive. Means if I write age is equal to 19, that will be valid. If I take it in a capital letters, that will be also capital, that is also valid. So all the variable name in any of the order if I write, that will be the case, that will be valid only. So we'll be able to do that. We'll be able to get it. Is int a variable or a data type? Student, I'll tell you each and everything. Don't you worry. I'll tell you each and everything. We'll discuss about the int and float and everything. So in that case, you'll come to know about it. It is just a start. It is just a start. Okay, Hemant, is this clear? Okay. So all variable names are case sensitive. Now let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. It is always recommend to you to take the user-friendly variable names. See, we can write like this also. Let me show you. Let me show you. I can write, we don't have to give the space, total salary, total employee sal is equal to 36.77. This is valid. This is valid, but not recommended. So what is recommended is, what is recommended? Students, we need to write total sal employee is equal to 45. That is valid and recommended also. So we can use the underscore also. We can use the underscore also, like total underscore sal underscore employee is equal to 36.77. So that is also valid, but we should always use this method, which is always recommended to use. Okay. Okay, students. Now let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Now, next, go ahead with the next session will be of data science in Python. Next session will be of data science in Python. We'll start discussing tomorrow. That will not in the slide format, that will be in the PDF format, so that it will be easier for you. So tomorrow we'll discuss about the data types in Python. Right? In that, we'll discuss about the integer type, float, bool, and complex. So all types of literals. Fine. Till then, hope we have whatever we have discussed in the class is clear to you. Whatever we have discussed in the class is clear to you. Okay. Hemant has a question again. Okay, Hemant, tell me. Yes, Hemant, tell me.
Ritu, once we start the programming, right? So if you can provide us, some real time, not the real time again. So the real time, near real time scenario. So how to code it and what is how the code basically traverses, right? So if you can just explain that as well, so it will be fair for us.
See, we have the process to go ahead with it. What we'll do is, once we'll start with the programming in a week or so, we'll start with the programming. After that, it's not that easy to process with the real-time applications, but I'll try to do that. So, okay, so don't you worry about it.
Yeah, not the real time, but at least the near real time scenarios, probably based on your experience, you might have faced some problems, right?
No problems, no problems.
Yeah. if you can just
Don't
let
you
us know
worry.
about that, it would be better for us.
No problem. I'll definitely do that. Fine.
Mhm.
Fine, students. That's all for the session today. That's all for the session today. So, okay, Shrikant has raised the hand. Okay, just a second, Shrikant. Okay, Shrikant, tell me. Please unmute yourself. Probably he has raised the hand by mistake. Okay. Okay, students, that's all for the session today. So rest we'll discuss tomorrow. Rest we'll discuss tomorrow about the data. Tomorrow okay, Mohan Babu has raised the hand. Okay, Mohan wants to ask the question. Okay, Mohan, tell me.
Yeah, hey Ritu. So the Python is covered for the entire data science, or it is different? Like it is only the Python. Just wanted to get the clarification.
See, the thing is, we are not going to cover the whole data science. If we talk about the data science or machine learning, this is a very vast concept,
Mhm.
right? But for everything, we need to know that we need to have a knowledge of Python. So we are providing the knowledge of Python. This is not a basic Python we are teaching. We'll be teaching the high level Python also. We'll discuss the NumPy and pandas also, so that it will be helpful for you also to execute it. Okay. So
Okay.
we are not going to cover the whole data science project.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Okay, students, hope that your doubt is clear. Hope your doubt is clear. So for that, you need to read the notes every day so that you'll be able to understand the Python programming perfectly. So please keep reading the notes, and tomorrow we'll proceed with data types in Python. Till then, keep practicing. Have a nice day. Bye.